Celebrity pubs are the latest growing trend where stars throw themselves, and their fortunes, into hobbies and businesses that they have dreamed about for years. And it's fair to say Jeremy Clarkson's Oxfordshire pub is just that. So, to get the full experience, I decided to pay the lauded venue a visit after reading about the mass of fans descending on the little village of Chipping Norton to try out the motoring journalist's watering hole. As a northern lass, I had certain expectations of what constitutes a good English pub, and surprisingly, Clarkson missed the mark on 3 of them. One of the biggest no-nos the presenter missed the mark on for me was the walk-in service. When we decided to make the 4-hour trip to Oxford to try out his hugely popular eatery, I went directly to the Farmer's Dog's website to place a booking. Unlike most pubs dotted around the UK, you can't just walk in or phone up and book a table for the weekend. Oh no, to get a place at Clarkson's table, you will need to book at least 1 month in advance and eagerly wait for the next 4-week slots to become available. And even then, the tables get booked so quickly it's almost as hard as trying to get your hands on a pair of Oasis tickets. Even then, the only booking we managed to secure was for 8:45 p.m. On a Tuesday. With grumbling tummies, we arrived at the venue at 8:25 p.m., where fairy lights lined the trees and welcomed us to the spacious car park. Despite being 20 minutes early, the staff were very strict on timings and escorted us over to the bar for a drink while we waited for 8:45 p.m. to roll around. We waited outside on the decking, which was fitted with enormous heaters, its very own bar and tables with blankets on offer to wrap up warm outside. Once the countdown ended, we joined the 6 other couples queuing up for their own 8:45 p.m. booking before we were shown our table in the corner of the room. Thankfully, because we brought the poochers with us, our table was tucked away from the crowd, which gave us a bit more room to stretch out. But most of the other patrons were forced to get comfortable with their neighbors during their meals, with little room to stretch out between each table. It appears the team had squeezed in as many tables as they could to hold the mass of fans looking to get the full Clarkson's Farm experience. The rehearsed waiting staff came to each table within minutes, taking our orders and delivering them within 15 minutes. Although the food was delicious and thoroughly celebrated all the local produce on the place, the experience felt a lot more like visiting a restaurant rather than popping in for a pub meal. Not only that, but the service was also so quick that we'd finished both our meals and a shared dessert in under an hour, meaning our stay was cut unexpectedly short. But for many of the other celebrity pubs, including his co-star James May's Wiltshire Eatery, you can just walk in and enjoy a pint at the bar and enjoy pie and chips without needing to call 6 weeks in advance. And there are options for those who didn't manage to get a table at the exclusive venue. Fans can still indulge in an evening meal at the Farmer's Puppy, which sells burgers and light bites. However, this is an outdoor service only, meaning you're at the mercy of the British weather. And in that same vein, another major complaint I had about the venue was its lack of warmth. This establishment, as lovely and tasty as it is not the sort of place you can drop by and watch the football at. There isn't a 10-year-old darts board hung up on the wall or a sticky pool table in the corner to enjoy a game with your friends at. It was also lacking a significant number of sofas and fireplaces for you to cozy up by after a long country walk. Maybe my northern side is showing, but is a pub really a pub if you can't watch the footy there with your mates and cheer on your favourite team? There wasn't a single screen inside, ridding the venue of one of the biggest community aspects every pub needs. This really hammers home the feel of a restaurant rather than a proper pub. It makes the venue and the service feel a lot colder and upmarket instead of the homely, comforting feeling you look for in a pub. My final point isn't a negative comment on the business itself, but because of the various businesses on the site, it is much more than a pub. The Farmer's Dog has so much more to offer than just a public house. It also boasts a butcher's, a burger shack, a separate bar, a bread stall, an ice cream shop, and diddly squat farm shop. You can easily spend a few hours walking around the site, sifting through the merchandise, indulging in the local delicacies, or sipping on a cold one while looking out over the gorgeous Oxfordshire countryside. With Diddly Squat Farm a short 20 minutes away from the pub, the visit feels much more like a tourist attraction than treating yourself to a pub dinner. Overall, it was a wonderful experience and definitely worth a visit for any Top Gear fans, but don't go in expecting a traditional pub dinner.